I'm still cafe.
U l-aħħar taqsima tagħna llum ser toħodna fil-kċina tal-MPD Steak Kitchen, wieħed mill-isponsors ewlenin ta' dan il-programm max-xef eżekuttiv Chris Bonello.
So we're back here again at the MPD Steakhouse with Chris Bonello, who a few weeks ago gave us a wonderful carpaccio. So Chris, what are you doing for us today?
So today we're gonna go on the sweet side of things, Mark. So we're gonna do a upside down apple tart. So it's apple tart tan. It's a French classic dish, but it reminds me again a lot of back home. Beautiful apples, you know, pastry, caramel, ice cream. Beautiful, easy dish that you can finish off in the end of your meal, and you can share with your family.
So is this sort of the sort of thing that you have on the dessert menu over
We
here?
actually do, yeah. We have one. We have it on the menu right now, currently. It's actually one of our best sellers on the menu.
No, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Chris, once again, MPD are one of our gold sponsors this season, and thank you for joining us this year.
Pleasure, Mark.
You know, so when people come down here, what can they expect from the experience of being here?
I think the experience comes as soon as you walk in the door. You know, you got the whole experience of coming in. You know, you got that dark atmosphere with the red light, and I'm not going to say much. You know, I think I should leave a surprise, even just the entrance. But once you're in MPD, it's a whole different experience. You can't even tell you're in Berwick.
Yeah.
And so it's just from the service, from the food, from the cocktail menu. It's a whole different experience.
Yeah, great. Well, I can't wait to see this dessert come to light. We'll get you going on that, and we'll get our viewers to enjoy it through the visuals and to see everything. Thank you very much, Chris.
First step with our apple tart is peeling the apple. So we've got a nice sharp peeler. We've got some beautiful little baby sundowners. They got really good sweet and nice and crisp flavor to it. And they also takes a while for them to oxidize. So they do not come black or anything like that when you peel them. So it gives you about 10 to 15 minutes until you can assemble the tart. And still stays beautiful colored, yeah. You can use any other apples, like Golden Delicious, you've got Little Pink Ladies. They're all nice and tasty. We've got what we've got in here, an apple core, so that we just get straight off the inside of the apple. So in the middle, all the way down. Out. We're going to cut the apple in half and get rid of any excess skin. Next, we've got our beautiful copper mini pans. You can use any pan that you've got at home. If you've got a big pan, then you just have to put more apples. We're going to start with some good French butter. So I got 60 grams of butter over here. That's going to go in the bottom of my copper pot. I also got some sugar, 60 grams. So the bigger the pan is, once you increase the apple amount, you have to increase the sugar and the butter as well. So calculate about 15 grams of sugar and butter per half an apple. I'm gonna place the apples nicely on top. Then we'll get some cloves, and we're gonna stud the apple. So we're studding the apple with the clove, just so that when it cooks, the heat of the apple and the juice that comes out automatically is infused with the clove flavor. So you got some nice spiciness as well to your tart. We also got some mixed spice over here, which we do that in-house. Sprinkle some on top. Then we've got our puff pastry. So we're gonna do a puff pastry. We're just gonna pretty much hug the apple. So put it on top, slightly lift the apple up, get the puff pastry, and just roll it underneath the apple so it stays nice. Get the second one up, same thing, puff pastry underneath. Then one last thing that we need to do is slightly score the apple. So once the sugar and the butter melts, we're gonna do what's called baste it. So we get the sugar mix and we'll just pour it on top of the tart. So it gives a nice crispy, sugary, buttery crust. So this is the first step of the assembling. So once we assemble the tart, we're just gonna caramelize the sugar and the butter together. So you can do this various ways. At home, depends if you've got a gas stove, you've got induction. Either way it works. Okay, just be careful if you're doing it straight on gas, you know, because the sugar sometimes can just caramelize pretty quickly. So just make sure you monitor it all the time once you're caramelizing butter and sugar together. So once that butter incorporates with the sugar, that's gonna start to slightly caramelize. So we're gonna look for a sort of light brown color. That's gonna indicate to us that it's pretty much ready to go in the oven. Okay, so as you can see, it started to caramelize. You can see that light brown color coming through. That means the sugar now is fully incorporated with the butter, and that's what you need. Okay, so next step, while that's cooking, we're just gonna do what we call it a basting. So basting is when you put fat on top of your protein. In this case, we got the sugar and the butter on top of the pastry. So we're just gonna slightly put that lovely liquid, and we're gonna put that one on top of the pastry. So once it's cooking the pastry, it's absorbing that beautiful caramel flavor in there. So make sure we cover the pastry with the sugar. This is one of the dishes, Marlene, that I always had on the menu since day one and will always be. It's one of our biggest sellers in MPD or anywhere I worked before. So we've got all the sugar on top. So now next step is we're gonna put the tart in the oven at 210 degrees. So make sure that's been preheated already, so it's nice and hot. And we're gonna cook the tart for about 10 minutes. And you can see that beautiful caramel start coming together in there. So that's what we need to look for. Apple's nice and caramelized. So it depends what oven you're using at home. If it's a fan force, it's gonna be about the same thing, about 10 minutes. If it's not a fan force, it may take another 5 to 6 minutes extra on top. So you all know your ovens, you just adapt as long as you got this beautiful, nice caramel flavor. That's what I need to look for. So what I'm doing in here is I'm grabbing some of the leftover caramel, putting it back on top, and it's gonna go in the oven for another 5 minutes. Put it in. So what's gonna happen is the caramel, it's that nice dark color already, so it's got a nuttiness flavor to it. So it's gonna enhance the flavor on the crust and makes it nice and crispy when we serve it. So it's about 15 minutes in total. So what's left to do now is we're gonna flip the tart upside down. So here is our upside down apple tart, MPD Steak Kitchen. It's on our menu, on our dessert menus. Just come and have a try. You'll not be disappointed. Delicious.
U b'dik ir-riħat fuq ta' tuffieħ wasalna fit-tmiem programm ieħor ta' Maltese DownUnder. Aħna nieħdu pjaċir nisimgħu minn għandkom għalhekk kull kummenti jew suġġerimenti ibatulna email fuq maltesetv@gmail.com jew inkella għamlu kuntatt magħna permezz tal-paġna tagħna fuq Facebook Maltese DownUnder. Jiena Marlin nagħtikom appuntamenti ieħor għal bħallum ġimgħa fl-istess ħin. Saħħa!